Oh my gosh, no, that's way better than I thought I was gonna do.
Right.
That looks so good.
So you're saying that a completely amateur welder with a little bit of guidance.
Yes, let's get that thing out so I can see how really good it is.
You excited?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, you see how much better that is?
Yeah, way better. At the end, I was like anticipating the end.
Right.
You can tell right here, but like this is when I was like in my groove.
So tell me again, how many times have you welded in your life?
Well, this would be, I guess, technically 2 pieces of things that I've ever touched with a welder.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. Oh, come on in.
Okay.
All right. So I actually haven't thought this through. I usually don't.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
No, it's good. I feel like there's a lot of good, genius work that comes out of like just doing it. You know what I'm saying?
What's going on, guys? This is my friend Jessie.
Hey, nice to meet you guys.
Today we're going to teach her how to weld, and part of the reason why I want to teach her how to weld is because I weld all the time and I work with guys who weld all the time, so they don't really need any pointers, but Jessie is totally green. I mean, go ahead and tell them everything you know about welding.
I know this much, so we're gonna see how well this goes. It might be just a hilarious video, we'll see.
So before today, have you ever actually seen a welder in person?
No.
Right, so that should give you guys a picture of, if I'm actually able to teach her how to weld, that means that you'll be able to weld too.
Totally.
So first things first, that outfit is not going to work, unfortunately.
Dang it, I thought I looked like weldish.
Well, no, you look great, but that's not going to work for welding.
Okay.
And more importantly, that watch will get destroyed.
I actually thought of that, just forgot. There we go.
So I think we're good to go. Let's get started.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a few different types of welding. And this particular one that we're going to be doing is wire feed. So the wire just comes straight out of that gun, and you're able to set the speed and the temperature that it comes out, and you're able to control it just manually. There's not a whole lot to it.
Okay.
So this right here, these are all examples of wire feed.
Okay.
And you can kind of see there's little circles in there. And that's because as the metal melts, it kind of forms what's called a puddle.
Okay.
And all welding is controlling that puddle.
Okay.
That's the whole thing, is if you're able to control that puddle, keep the temperature right, no problem. That's the whole trick to welding.
Okay.
But so the other styles of welding I want to show you while we're here. So this is stainless, which we're not doing right now. Okay. But this is stainless TIG, which means you use a torch to heat up the metal, and then you dab with this.
Oh,
this is the metal. So it needs both hands.
Yeah.
But you have more control, and it's a little bit more aesthetic, as you could probably tell.
Yeah, definitely.
And I kind of like the colors of it a little bit. So each one of these little swirls is a dab.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you just go dab, and you move a little, dab, move a little, and so that's what makes that texture.
Okay.
So when you expect it to look like this from this welder, you're going to be disappointed. That's why I'm explaining this, because a lot of people are like, oh, this weld really doesn't look good. It's not going to look like this.
Okay.
Ever.
Because it's a different type or a different welder?
It's complete. Everything about it is different.
Okay.
So these welders, this one right here, you can go buy this certain times of the year. I bought one for $87.
Oh, okay.
This welder.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're not expensive, and that's the reason that people struggle with them so much, is because they're really inexpensive, and that price point, a lot of people own them. And usually people who don't know how to weld.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense?
Yes, totally.
Okay, so we've got a couple of pieces here, and we're going to walk you through it.
Okay.
Okay, so what's your concern that you have?
Okay, my concern is when I put my helmet down, or whatever you call this thing.
They usually call it a hood, but that's fine.
Okay, whenever I put this part down, this is how I'm supposed to weld, but I can't see anything, so how do I know where I'm starting?
Right, so a smart person would have what's called an auto darkening.
Okay.
So you can see through it, and then when you start welding, it darkens by itself.
Ooh, that's cool.
It is cool. I gave mine away.
Okay.
So we don't have that luxury. But what's cool though is this one. You're able to set this. This is usually a gas cup. Okay. But this one doesn't use gas, so it's kind of there for nothing. Okay. But you're able to set this on the metal that you're working with. Yep. And you're able to just drag along that. So what you're able to do is just put it here, and you'll know about where it's going to start. Okay. And then you flip that down. Perfect. And you'll be able to see what you're supposed to be doing.
Okay, that makes me feel more comfortable.
Okay, do you want me to do a weld, so you can see what it looks like?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's very important.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay. Goodbye, everybody. I feel like when I close the hood, I'm saying goodbye.
Okay. You're closed, right?
Yep. Oh, nope.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great start. Sometimes it takes a second. Do you see what I'm doing here?
You're going across the line, right?
Yep, I'm going over the line and I'm kind of weaving back and forth a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
And you see how it's brighter in the middle, like there's like a molten pool of metal?
Yeah.
I'm just moving that around. And if I start to see a gap form, then I kind of hang tight where I'm at, because the gap ends up being a pinhole,
Okay.
and you don't want that.
Yeah.
So if it starts to make that little gap, I just stay where I'm at, and then it'll fill that pinhole, and then I can keep moving.
Okay.
So this looks like crap right now, right?
Yeah.
Right, so
Sure.
we have a special tool.
Okay.
It's kind of nasty, and most people use a wire brush, but I don't know where mine is.
Yeah.
So we have a much more hardcore wire brush attached to a grinder. So way better, right?
Yeah, way better.
Okay, so you're starting to see, now this is not perfect. This particular welder isn't amazing at doing super consistent beads, but this is a pretty good weld, and that's going to be a pretty strong weld too.
Okay.
So there's nothing wrong with that, and if you can do this with one of these welders, you can pretty much weld with any welder, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, cool. You ready to try one for yourself?
Oh my god, wish me luck. Yeah, sure.
Don't be nervous.
Okay.
One thing that we didn't talk about yet is, so it's obviously using electricity to make that arc.
Yes.
And so the way it does that is, this is the ground. So think of a battery. You know how batteries have two terminals?
Yes.
Okay, so this is one of the terminals. So the electricity is going through the vise, going through this piece, and you're making the connection with the wire coming out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, way more now.
Right. Starting to add up.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of a bigger picture thing. You kind of need all these little elements for it to make a bunch of sense.
Okay.
You're about to do your first weld. Do you have any questions for me before you do that?
Just you have fire safety, right? In case I like.
Do you see this table? Look at it for a second. This thing has been through the ringer. So I'm just going to reiterate something just to make it a little bit easier for you.
Yeah.
Remember I said you can kind of set this down here.
Okay.
You kind of pay attention to the angle a little bit, and you're pulling, right? So you're going in that direction.
Yes.
But remember, you set this here so you can set this down.
Yes.
And you'll know where it's going to start welding.
Okay.
And really, just concentrate on that little puddle and try to be as smooth as you can.
Okay.
That's the best advice I can give you.
Smooth operator.
Smooth operator. And pull the trigger, that's when it goes.
Okay.
Don't pull the trigger without this thing down, though.
Okay. Let's get you in position, little thing. Okay. You guys ready?
I am.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh, hold on. Oh wait.
Yeah. Nice and smooth.
Oh, I feel like I'm puddling.
All right. How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel like I didn't destroy it.
Well, you didn't destroy anything at all.
Yeah.
Except for my table. You almost set it on fire. Good Lord.
Oh my gosh, no, that's way better than I thought I was going to do.
Right.
That looks so good.
So you're saying that a completely amateur welder with a little bit of guidance.
Yes, let's get that thing out so I can see how really good it is.
You excited?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. So don't focus on that. But what we're gonna focus on is this is where a little bit of constructive criticism goes a long way.
Yes.
So, and I know you don't take it personally.
Oh, yes, I do.
Well, maybe a little bit. So what we're dealing with here is you're kind of focusing on this top piece, which there's nothing wrong with. It's literally your first weld ever.
Ever.
So I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is these pinholes, right? And so what happens, I was watching you do it. You were welding like this, and then you'd advance real quick.
Yes.
And then you'd stick around, and then you'd advance real quick.
Yes.
You got it about right, this one.
Yep.
But you were hanging around a little bit too long. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But what you can do is when you're hanging around, you can kind of wiggle it back and forth like that.
That's okay. Yeah.
And that'll make sure that puddle, remember the puddle?
Yeah. Yep.
That'll make sure that the puddle goes across both pieces. And really what it's about, it's not about adding metal.
Okay.
It's about melting the two pieces together.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're ready to do another one, aren't you?
Yes.
I figured you would
Yes.
be. Your first weld was not bad at all. Okay,
Yeah.
we both know that, right?
Yes,
okay.
totally.
What were the notes that I gave you?
That I was like jumping, and like it was going good, and then I jump, and then I need to go up and down to make it smooth, more like,
Well, when you're sticking around like you were, when it's just because it's just feeding more and more metal the longer you longer you hang around. So if you're gonna do that, weaving it distributes the metal a little bit
better.
But the most important thing that I can stress right now is smooth. Smooth, because when you, like you saw already, the jerking, that causes it to be erratic. Remember, once it's cold, it's permanent. So as long as you can keep it hot and keep that puddle moving around, it's really good. So I told you what you should do. Now I'm going to show you how.
Okay.
I'm not actually going to do it, but I'm going to show you.
Okay.
So we were talking about moving it around, and this is where people always say take this thing off. That advice drives me nuts.
Okay.
Let me tell you why.
Why?
Because when you take this off, you cannot set it on your workpiece.
Oh.
At all. Because it's going to ground out and it won't even weld.
Yeah.
So this way, you're able to go like this.
Yeah.
And walk it.
Oh.
Literally walk it really, really gently.
Yeah.
And I'll let you practice that a little bit before you start welding.
Perfect.
So we'll turn it off, and so no danger of risking your eyeballs.
Yeah, there we go.
Right.
Yes. But I'd like to save those things.
Right, you need those a little bit.
Yeah.
So walking it around like that, and just keep an eye on that puddle, and make sure you're keeping it molten. And if you start to see this crack through the puddle, just hang out there, let the metal do its job, let it heat up, and then you're good.
Okay.
But give it a couple practices, and I think we're ready to go.
Okay, so, and I don't really need to push the trigger because I'm just doing technique.
It's off right now.
Yeah.
But so one thing I do want to point out is so your angle a little bit. So you're pointing the metal, or the heat towards the metal a little bit.
Yeah.
So when you're more like that, you're kind of pointing it away.
Okay.
And if you could see without the hood, it's like spraying metal out.
Oh, so it needs to be more in, right?
Yeah. So the more you can concentrate the heat, the better penetration you're going to get, and the stronger weld you're going to get out of the deal.
That makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
And because this is pretty thick for this weld. Oh, this is pretty thick for this welder.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm telling you that.
Okay.
So give that a couple practices, and when you think you're ready and you think you're smooth enough, we can give it a shot.
Okay. Yeah. And the big thing too, I think, is like with one hand, like steadying yourself with one hand.
Yes. All right. So you're going real fast there.
Oh, am I?
Well, but you're not welding. So
yeah.
But I want you, remember, I want you to concentrate on smooth.
And smooth. Okay.
You ever iced a cake before?
Yeah.
So it's all about taking your time and paying attention. And if it's feeding too fast, if the welder's putting too much metal out, we can turn it down.
Okay.
Unfortunately, with a cheap welder like this,
Yeah.
this is the right speed.
Uh-huh.
A lot of welders you can change the speed. This one, this is the best speed for it, between 4 and 5 out of 10.
Okay.
But
and that is fast, but I feel like now I'm getting like the hang of like what it's going to be doing.
Right, right. And if you can just kind of ignore what's happening around you, like all the noise and all the sparks and everything, and just concentrate on gently moving that puddle around, your weld is going to be that much better.
Okay. Get me all prepared here.
Remember what we talked about?
Yeah, spraying and smooth.
Yep. Don't forget to close your hood.
Yep. Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
Ready? Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me get my hand all situated right.
Slow it down a little bit.
Okay. little bit more.
Yeah, there you go. How do you feel about this?
I'm feeling a lot better. Okay, let me see my work.
I know, it's awesome how much you can see.
Yeah.
So I know how I feel about it.
Yeah, no.
But so here,
this is so much different than my first one.
It's extremely different.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so it's a little loud. We can get your earplugs if you want.
Okay.
But I'll let you do this. But really keep a good handle on this because this thing's kind of. Or do you want me to do it?
I can try it. I'll try it.
Okay, but just really hold on to it really well and just keep your hand away from that.
2 hands.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay.
You want me to turn it on for you? It's kind of hard.
Oh, like push this part?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Hold it tight.
Oh my gosh, look at that!
Yeah. Yeah, you see how much better that is?
Yeah, way better. At the end, I was like anticipating the end. You can tell right here, but like this is when I was like in my groove.
Right. And so the only thing that I would say, like, and this is not by any means like, oh, you didn't do it right.
Yeah.
Like the only thing, if you were to, let's say, I want to do a perfect weld.
Yes.
You hung around there a little bit, so you stacked up the metal a little bit. But there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
Okay. But so I'm just gonna give it a little bit of love here. If everybody could weld like that, I wouldn't have a channel. I'm not joking.
Yeah, totally.
So tell me again, how many times have you welded in your life?
Well, this would be, I guess, technically 2 pieces of things that I've ever touched with a welder.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Don't touch it. That's real hot. That's real hot. It'll boil water if you poured water on it.
Oh my gosh, seriously?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm glad I saw you. Oh man.
That's how much I know about welding.
So I know you said you've never seen a welder before.
Yeah.
But what's your honest opinion just looking at this welder of it?
It looks pretty basic to me. I mean, it's pretty normal and simple, I guess. I mean, this, like I said, I don't know this stuff, but...
Right. But so just me, personally, this looks like something from a third world country.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So we're talking like the cheapest welder you could buy.
Yes.
In basically a sweatshop environment. And the person who's never welded before.
Yeah.
Or seen a welder.
Yeah, I've never seen one.
And you're able to do... That's a pretty awesome weld in my opinion.
Cool.
Like,
A+ for me.
Like, seriously. Obviously, you know what you did wrong here.
And I could feel as I was like, at the end, I could feel that that's what was happening.
Do you know why it went wrong?
Why?
Because you got to the end of the piece, you couldn't rest the gun on it anymore.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what I was like, end it. Okay,
right.
we're good.
Right, so if you can master these tricks, a lot of people are like, well, this is a really simple weld right here. It's not complicated at all. But if you set up a bunch of these, this is the basics. This is how you learn.
That's true.
You get a lot of practice in, you're going to get better at this, and you can start doing harder welds.
Yeah.
That's how I got better at this. That's the whole process. But this welder right here, this is the first welding video I ever did was with this welder. Arguably, it's the reason I have a YouTube channel right now.
Okay.
So this thing has paid for itself so many times. It's ridiculous. So when people say these are junk, it drives me nuts. Because I'm a complete amateur. complete amateur
Yeah.
is able to do better because everyone says that this thing can't weld. It's obviously not true, right?
Yeah, totally, because I've never done this before, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you say, oh, it's not a strong weld, then you haven't watched my videos.
Yeah.
You should watch my videos before you comment stuff like that. Anyway, I figure we're here and you have one more blank side if you want to do another weld.
Yes, let's do it.
You're pretty confident, right?
Yeah, now I'm like excited.
Okay, awesome, let's do it.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, that's a good weave. I like it.
Thank you. Oh, I jumped. Oh.
That was the welder's fault. That wasn't your fault.
All right. End with a bang.
Oh, I can't wait to see this. Oh yeah, it's still molten.
That middle though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And I like how it's like not very tall. So that's actually a good sign that you're kind of relying on heat and not relying on the wire.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally.
Sweet.
Hey, this is Jesie Joseph. I'm a welder now.
Right. You certainly, I mean, I'm not going to say that you know how to weld, but you know how to do a nice weld.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I understand the allure of welding. A lot of people think it looks really cool and it's an exciting thing, but the truth is this is a legitimate form of making money, and welding brought me and my family out of poverty. That's why I'm able to make my money. And so me showing you how to do this is really important to me. I want to make sure that you guys are able to learn this ability because it might give you the same opportunity. That's what's so special about welding and these inexpensive welders. Like I was saying before, one Christmas I bought one of these for 87 bucks. It's no brainer. And if you're able to teach yourself how to weld, you're able to bring yourself to that next level. And that's what's so important to me. So Jesie.
Yes.
How do you feel about this?
I feel so good. Like it's something that I never thought I'd be able to do, and I feel like I'm doing really good.
Right. And the second one that you did, part of the reason why I wanted to do that is I wanted to show that the first one wasn't a fluke, but it's repeatable. That's what I wanted to show people, is that you're able to take just very little notes. I gave you hardly any additional information, and you're able to pick it up and run with it, and you did really well.
Thank you.
You should not feel bad about your performance at all.
Thank you.
Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching.
Yes.
Now go ahead and follow Jesie on her channel. I'm going to leave a link in the description. I would really like you guys to check her out because she's trying to get her channel going. Anyway, thank you for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thanks always for doing your part to help make this world a strange place.
Yeah.
You like it?
I love it.
All right.